Welcome back to Oulton Park, hopefully for coverage of the final lap of race 2 here of the penultimate event of the EERC British Touring Car Championship. Tim Neuendorf has fought his way up to the front ahead of Louis Hartley. So apologies that we missed pretty much the entirety of this race due to internet issues and all sorts of dramas happening behind the scenes. But currently it is Tim Neuendorf leading Louis Hartley by 9.4 seconds. Noah Tuomela, who signed up to start the race on softs, put mediums on, could well be in trouble. I think Tim Neuendorf is not far away from crossing the finish line here. Peter Neuendorf is... Oh, there's a car in the wall, actually. Just at the Lakeside hairpin. In the KB86 it's Patrick Magnussen. Magnussen will again not score any points here at Oulton Park. But Tim Neuendorf has only got a couple more sectors to go then before he takes victory then. He's lapped Andy Horton. He's not had a great race. Louis Hartley having a much better run, 2nd position, which will help him significantly in the championship, but he's going to come out behind Luc Moynier no matter what happens because of how badly race 1 went for him. Through Deer Leap we go with Tim Neuendorf, and in only his 2nd race, he's going to win race 2 here at Oulton Park. Fabulous performance from the pot racer, number 66 driver, Tim Neuendorf. Louis Hartley, 9.4 seconds in arrears, is just going to beat Noah Tuomela to 2nd position then, but Noah Tuomela will probably be disqualified. So it's going to be Peter Neuendorf that will inherit 3rd position. Matthew Lee is going to inherit 4th. We've not talked about him, but he's had a cracking performance to beat Tom Hackett. Of course, a lot less ballast in that spare car, Vauxhall. Peter Schumann is going to cross the line and be classified in 6th, just behind Tom Hackett. Serema will come home in 7th. Mark Horvath, 8th. James Haskell, 9th, and Oliver Hargitay will round out the top 10. And none of our soft tire runners really made any progress. Morel, 12th on the road. Szylski, 13th. Hayek, 14th. Thomas Raschke, 15th. And Yannick Pleiss, after being colliding with Hargitay at the beginning, as first corner of the race, will end in 17th. So, not the greatest broadcast in the world, I'm afraid, and I think the 2 men alongside will probably agree with me, even if reluctantly. But Pascal's here. Nick, are you going to be doing race 3?
I am. Now everything's working, and I'll try not to blow my engine up.
Okay, well, I'll be relying on Pascal then for visuals.
Going back to the other Discord. So, bye.
Okay, see ya. Right, well, that's Nick Homewood departing then. But 2 new winners so far then. Tim Neuendorf. I mean, we did see a little bit of the race. But yeah, Tim Neuendorf doing well to stay out of trouble and then overcome Noah Tuomela, who was even beaten by Louis Hartley in the end. But there you go. Neuendorf 1st, Hartley 2nd, Tuomela 3rd. Peter Neuendorf, brother of Tim Neuendorf, classified 4th on the road, but will inherit 3rd position. Then it's Matthew Lee, another stand-up performance by him to beat Tom Hackett, who was starting on pole position, didn't make the greatest of starts, and then had to sort of survive in 6th, which will become 5th. Peter Schumann was finished 7th on the road ahead of Alexander Serema. Mark Horvath 9th, and James Haskell rounding out the top 10. Then it's Hargitay crossing the line in 11th ahead of Morel. Szylski 13th, first of the soft tire runners. Hayek 14th. Thomas Raschke 15th. Then Stefan Nilsson 16th. Yannick Pleiss 17th. Patrick Magnussen crashed out on the final lap of the race, going off at Cascades. Andy Horton is classified 19th and last of the finishes, a lap down. And then it is a non-finisher. So Luca Gray, Nick Homewood, who blew up his engine, Matthew Williams, and Joshua Dexter. Quite a few of those. Williams and Dexter, I think, got eliminated at the first corner. Kerfuffle. So here we go. We're going to see who is going to inherit the reverse grid pole. And I'm not sure if this will include Tuomela's disqualification, but it will be 15th, which should be Thomas Raschke, unless I'm very much mistaken. Yep. So that's going to be pretty much the most the lowest down reverse grid driver it could have
Yep.
been. So it will be Rashke on pole. So all 3 races, a Hunter Birch driver will start on pole position. That'll be interesting to see what happens, but I don't expect Thomas Rashke to hold on for very long.
With the draw, maybe we get a third new winner in the third race.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm not sure if you start on the wrong tires and finish third, if that affects the reverse grid
No, it does not.
draw.
That's a
You don't get
post race.
disqualified instantly.
That's a post race penalty.
Yeah. Yeah, KV86 Power certainly making a bit of a meal of this team's championship. That they're pretty much on course to win because their main opposition is either abandoned or so far behind. Yeah, let's have a reminder who is on the soft tyres in race 3 then. So it's Alexander Sorema, Andy Horton, James Haskell, Mark Horvath, Matthew Lee, Matthew Williams, Oliver Hargitay, Peter Neuendorf, Peter Schoenemann, Stefan Nilsson, and Tim Neuendorf. Yes, Hargitay, I think, will be starting in 4th because he finished 11th. So he could be a big threat here on his softs. But yeah, I think a lot of drivers could be big threats here. I think another new winner. I think Schoenemann winning is possible.
Definitely is.
I think Tim Neuendorf from 15th could be a bit of a big ask for him to win. I think even someone like Matthew Lee or James Haskell could be a threat on their softs. They were very, very quick in
Lee
both
was
races so far.
impressive the last race. Nielsen just missing out on pole position for this race.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what tactics the Hunter Birch simulation drivers use here. Because they've got Rashke and Hargitay near the front. Hackett in the middle of the field. And Gray near the back after not finishing either race so far. Oh no, he did finish the first race, didn't he? It's not very far up the field.
Maybe even Den Hai can do something about
Hargitay's having a go at me because he's saying, "Oh, I thought you said to use the softs in race 1." So he used the softs in race 1, even though it says on the sheet race 3. So yeah, he's not going to get to keep that PT, sadly. All right. God, this broadcast has been an absolute disaster. Okay, I did tell Nick that Hargitay wanted to use the softs in race 1, and for some reason he put it in race 3, so it's Nick that's fucked up, not me.
Yeah, that's probably gonna stand then. When you have the message to back that up. Two minutes to race start. Nick, just let me know.
I always wonder why I bother checking the sheet sometimes. It gives me information that is wrong.
Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now?
Race time again.
Okay, there we go. Nick, cleared it up with Nick. He says it's okay. Right, sorry. I'm getting a bit distracted by this. I'm just assuming that at some point the broadcast is going to crash and it's not going to matter. But I'm not exactly giving it my full attention now. But the race is probably going to start in the next minute or so. And is it raining? That is interesting.
raining.
That really throws tire choice out the window.
And looking at how heavy it is, I think it's not a bad shot to try to get back to the pits and change them to wet tires.
Yeah, Joshua Dexter's put some wets on. And I think he's
And
the only one who has, actually.
restarting.
Oh, Nick Homer and Magnussen as well. But off we go. And it's Hayek that gets the better getaway than Thomas Rashke. So Dan Hayek goes around the outside. But the rain still continues to fall. Off track goes Szylski, and around at Old Hall Corner he goes. So Morel will now be promoted up to third. But yeah, not the getaway that Thomas Rashke was hoping for, but he's still right behind Dan Hayek. Could find a way through back into the lead if he's careful here. Hargitay still running in fifth, but he's got Mark Horvath all over the back of him through Cascades. There's Tom Hackett down in 11th then, trying to navigate the chaos. So yeah, the rain's still falling. Oh, and Yannick Pleiss goes just skateboards into the side and bumps into Hackett. So Tom Hackett down to 17th then. But Patrick and Magnussen is up to 11th as that Luca Gray fighting away with Yannick Pleiss. Both of them go off track there. So this is a very, very chaotic first lap here. But Magnussen has got through to 11th on the wet tyres as it continues to rain down. Is that more trouble just ahead of Patrick and Magnussen? That looks like Sorema going off track. As though somebody else as well.
KV86 went straight.
To O'Mella, I think he's down to 22nd.
Yep.
Magnussen is up to 8th. Homeward up to 15th. And Josh Dexter up to 17th. All of them on the wet tyres then. Hayek still leads Rashke by half a second. There's Matthew Williams going wide at Druids. Oh no, I think that was actually Josh Dexter going wide, allowing back Williams back through. But there's Luca Gray muscling his way alongside Patrick and Magnussen. Oh, when they hit each other and round goes Luca Gray there. Oh, that was a bit over-aggressive from Luca Gray through Deer Leap and into the pits. So that's going to be 2 retirements in a row. So not a great end to Luca Gray's day. Nobody else pitting for wets, interestingly. So they must feel it's not quite wet enough just yet. But Szylski looks like he's hit trouble as well. Tuamela too. So they're both going into the pits for wet tyres then. It's the windscreen rubber on Neuendorf's car spraying rapidly as that looks like Patrick Magnussen fighting away with Tim Neuendorf. And Magnussen, if he's got this call right, he could be on for a lot of points in. There wasn't a whole lot of warning about the rain before the race started, so the people who went to the grid early really got disadvantaged there. And yet Tuamela is coming out of the pits on wet tyres. Szylski is sticking with the mediums. Homewood seems to have hit trouble because he's out of the race. Oh, look at the amount of dust being kicked up there as there's, there's a massive pile up at Knickerbrook chicane. Off goes Rashke, and that allows Schumann through up to second. Hargitay is up to third now. And I think there's multiple drivers getting Knickerbrook chicane wrong on the dry tyres. So Magnussen is now up to 7th on his wets. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if anyone else goes for the wet tyres because the rain shows no signs of going away. Oh, and is that Haskell going off track? It is, so Haskell's going to lose the lead then that he just gained. So it's all mixed up now. Peter Schumann leads from Oliver Hargitay and Louis Hartley. Hartley close to hitting the back of Oliver Hargitay here. Yannick Pleiss is 4th, Neuendorf 5th, and Magnussen 6th then on the wets. And they could well be the tyres to go on. And into the pits, Hargitay's had enough. He's going for the wet tyres. That could just be damage limitation. Then Neuendorf is following him in. Sorema, that's one the KV86 is coming in. It must be Dan Hayek, who must have made a mistake and lost the lead after that contact with Thomas Rashke. So Magnussen is now running 4th, but the 4 ahead of him still on the dry tyres as the rain intensifies. Hackett has come in too. The Josh Dexter actually is going to move up to 9th now on his wet tyres. So Joshua Dexter could be in the box seats here for a big result. As there's Patrick Magnussen now 3rd, going off track though, as that's going to allow Yannick Pleiss to challenge, but Yannick Pleiss on the dry tyres then. So that's Magnussen up to 3rd. So what on earth is going on here, Pascal? As all the people who've pit now, or wet tyres emerging from the pit lane. So Neuendorf, Hargitay, Lee, Hackett, Hayek, Horton, Haskell, Horvath and Rashke. All coming onto the wets now.
Yeah, looking at the amount of spray, I don't think the people on the dry tyres are gonna be able to keep ahead of Magnussen, but maybe the other pitters took a lot
struggling
of
to
time.
stay on track himself though. That shows you just how intense the rain is right now and how bad the brakes are into Knickerbrook chicane. Nielsen, by staying out. Oh, I was just about to say he'd be gaining places, but he's gone straight on and into the wall. And there's the Optiminal getting by of Josh Dexter on the wets as well. So look out for Josh Dexter, because once those ahead of him pit, he could be in a really good position here. And then Neuendorf, I think, must have jumped Hargitay in the pits there, because he came in behind Oliver Hargitay. I'm pretty sure. Look how wide Hartley and Schumann go through the final corner, through Deer Leap. And Schumann has made it into the pits then. So now Magnussen leads from Yannick Pleiss, who's decided to stay out. Schumann and Hartley wisely coming in, and Peter Neuendorf as well. So is Alexander Soremi going to come in? Yes, he is. So this will promote Joshua Dexter, I think, onto the podium here. Depending on... Schumann has already got onto the wet tyre, so he's going to come out first, I think. But there, Joshua Dexter into 3rd position. And Yannick Pleiss' lap times are going to be quite a few seconds a lap slower than Dexter and Magnussen. So Patrick and Magnussen and Josh Dexter have called this perfectly. Where is Nick Homewood, though? He's already out of the race, isn't he, from that crash? So he would have been...
Yeah, P1.
Yeah, look how busy it is in the pits now as Nielsen comes in as well, just ahead of Sorema. But, yeah, I think this is really costly, that collision for Nick Owen, because he would have been third if he'd been able to keep it out of the barriers right now. Net third. Matt Williams has stayed out on the soft tyre. So that is a brave call, thinking it will dry up, because it seems to be only getting worse at the moment. So once the pit stops play out here, as Matt Williams goes off track, and no wonder that's going to allow Hargitay through into 5th position. So I think at the moment it's going to be Magnussen. Oh, and Yannick Pleiss into the wall. No wonder there's just no grip on those dry tyres whatsoever. There's that invisible wall to stop people cutting Knickerbrook entirely. Peter Schumann now gets past Matt Williams. So it should be Patrick Magnussen leading Josh Dexter, Tim Neuendorf in 3rd, Oliver Hargitay in 4th, Peter Schumann in 5th, Matthew Lee in 6th, Louis Hartley 7th, Tom Hackett in 8th, Peter Neuendorf 9th, and Dan Hayek should be rounding out the top 10 then once Yannick Pleiss and Matthew Williams pit from 2nd and 8th respectively at the moment on those dry tyres. Yeah, so the race is really going to be Patrick Magnussen's going to have a big lead as Matt Williams just struggling to just keep it going in a straight line whatsoever. As look behind, that must be a bit of an incident as Horvath goes a bit wide and Haskell and Horton are now fighting each other. Andy Horton for Celtic Racing. Matthew Williams just trying to get out of everyone's way at this point.
Yeah, I think that's the wettest conditions we had all season.
It is, yeah. And I remember a couple of seasons ago, we had a very wet race at Oulton Park where it rained suddenly as well. Midway through the race, though. That was near the end, not the beginning. But yeah, Yannick Pleiss continues to struggle. He's going to drop like a stone, surely. Josh Dexter, 2.7 seconds behind. He was 15 seconds behind, I think, at the start of the lap. So that really shows you how much he's struggling. But also struggling is, that looks like Hayek and Horvath that have both gone off track there. So Patrick Magnussen now leads by 28 seconds over Joshua Dexter. Yannick Pleiss is just continuing to stay out here. So Neuendorf will get through as well onto the podium. So Tim Neuendorf looking for a 2nd podium in a row. Hargitay is going to be getting up to 4th soon once he catches up to Yannick Pleiss. There's Horvath. And Horvath is another that's on the wets as well. So he just seems to be really struggling because look, Haskell's got by and now Horton as well. Andy Horton up to 14th position. Horvath tries to stick it around the outside at Cascades, but just nowhere to go through the spray, although he has managed something there. Schumann now gets past Yannick Pleiss for 5th. As there's Dan Hayek in 11th. He is now all over the back of Peter Neuendorf. The rain continues to intensify. And track conditions are just continuing to deteriorate as Andy Horton goes a little bit deep on the exit here. And now here comes Horvath. Going to bump Horton in the rear there as they both just have a little grass-cutting moment there. And Andy Horton somehow survives. 5 laps to go. And Patrick Magnussen is looking very, very good to win this race at the moment from Joshua Dexter. Neuendorf. It's just going to be around the outside of Josh Dexter there. Josh Dexter just completely struggling even on the wet tyres as Tim Neuendorf cuts right to the inside. So Neuendorf up to 2nd, but he is 30 seconds now behind Patrick Magnussen. More like 25 seconds technically. And Josh Dexter is really going to have to try and hold on for that final spot on the podium from Oliver Hargitay. Could be very tense these final few laps. Look at this. Hayek is going to go around the outside of Yannick Pleiss. Big mistake from Pleiss there through the final corner. And there's Hargitay right behind Peter Schumann. So actually, I think Schumann has got by, but he's going wide here through Cascades, and that can allow Oliver Hargitay to strike back here. Schumann, very, very good in these low grip conditions. There's Peter Neuendorf losing out to Dan Hayek then. So Hayek, another driver that seems to have a very, very good car in these wet conditions. Seems to be a KV86 specialty because Magnussen has been setting very consistent lap times up front as well. Tim Neuendorf and Schumann, the fastest drivers on track, though. Along with Tom Hackett, it must be said, who's gotten up to 8th, despite losing out early on. There's Josh Dexter, who's been overcome now by Hargitay. So Schumann has got through onto the podium now as well. Yeah, Josh Dexter, an inspired call to start on the wet tyres, but now he just hasn't got the pace of Schumann and Hargitay, and potentially Louis Hartley could catch by the end as Hargitay hits the wall. And Knickerbrook there. With low grip, mistakes are even easier to come by here, and hopefully Hargatai just able to brush that one off, but steering could be a little bit tricky now for the rest of the race.
Looks like the rain stopped
Oh,
now,
and isn't
though.
Hayek in trouble? We ride on board with Matthew Lee chasing down Hartley. There's Yannick Pleiss continuing to plummet down the order. That car looks very damaged. Oh, and he's blocking Haskell there. James Haskell looking very annoyed because he's so much quicker, but Yannick Pleiss just completely blocking with a very wounded car. As, oh, look at poor Joshua Dexter. He's got no grip and no confidence out there. Maybe he's just burned through the wet tires, Pascal.
I don't think that the tires would give out. I think it's a matter of confidence in this case.
Yeah, and there we go. Up the inside goes Hackett then. Josh Dexter. He could still get a top 10 finish out of this. 11 seconds to Peter Neuendorf. But Josh Dexter was lapping in the 2-minute 8s. Patrick and Magnussen in the 2:04s as well. So I wonder, starting on the wets, maybe it gets you that undercut, essentially, because you don't have to make the pit stop. But definitely feels like those who started on the wets are struggling a bit more than those who
maybe they used them up when it wasn't as wet, that they overheated a bit there. That could
possibly,
be one
yes.
explanation.
Yeah, track temperature has still stayed about the same, I believe. So there's no big change there since the rain started falling, as Horvath all over the back of Andy Horton. Horton has defended from Mark Horvath quite well, actually. There's Rashke, the pole sitter, making a move past Yannick Pleiss there. And I think Pleiss is just continuing to stay on the dry tyres, isn't he? Because it has stopped raining, actually. Interestingly enough. But I don't think it's going to dry out fast enough. Yannick Pleiss.
Yeah, I don't think
Let's
so
look at
either, no.
Kramer challenging Neuendorf for 9th. We'll have to keep an eye on the sector times of Yannick Pleiss, though. But still, he's lapping in the 42s. Whereas the leaders are in the 37s and 38s. Tim Neuendorf has cut almost 5 seconds out of Magnussen since he got up to second. But Peter Schumann has been lapping about a second lap quicker than Tim Neuendorf as well. And Hargatai has been dragged with him, just 1 second behind. Oh, and look at Pleiss. Oh, goodness me, just getting ping-balled out of the way out of the Knickerbrook chicane. Yeah, he's just got zero grip out there on the dry tyres. So Yannick Pleiss, the gamble has well and truly backfired. He could have potentially been fighting for the podium if he'd switched earlier to the wet tyres when everyone else did.
Yeah, that makes it actually interesting for the fight for P3 with Schoenemann, Hargatai and Pleiss. And Magnussen coming back in if he wins this race.
It's true, yeah. Magnussen really needed a big result, didn't he? And I think this win is going to put KV86 Powerhouse officially in a Teams Championship winning position as well. But for Louis Hartley in 5th, it's going to be, 13th, 2nd, 5th? His 3 results here. So that's points he's gained on Monia, but not really enough. Look at Nielsen side by side here with Noah Tuomela and getting through.
Is he
So
also
brave stuff from Stefan Nielsen.
soft tires, Tuomela?
No, both on the wets.
That's surprising then, to have such a difference.
Yeah, I think, trying to figure out when they pit. So Nielsen pit after 3 laps. Noah Tuomela pit at the end of the 1st lap. So maybe that explains the difference there. Yeah, it is. The sun is shining at the moment, but the standing water isn't really being cleared very quickly. So it could only really be the final lap that Yannick Pleiss starts to equal and get to the crossover point with the wet runners. But by that point, it's going to be much, much too late. As we look at Serena continuing to chase Neuendorf. Oh, and the rain has started falling again anyway, so Yannick Pleiss is well and truly in a horrible position out there.
His chances have fallen into the water.
Yeah, I think blown out of the water would be the appropriate expression here. as now Josh Dexter could still come away with a top 8 here. 2 seconds ahead of Peter Neuendorf, so that is quite exciting. Tom Hackett is 7/10 behind Matthew Lee. But Neuendorf, despite the fact that he's been catching Magnussen, who's still been setting personal best, 157s, and Neuendorf in the 155s, along with Schoenemann. It's going to be too little too late for Tim Neuendorf. But of those who pit later in the race, he pit on lap 2. It's Tim Neuendorf who's probably had the best race of those who didn't get the chance to switch to wet tyres before the starting sequence. I wonder what Tom Hackett can do. Matthew Lee, a sort of fellow rookie. I believe they're both British drivers as well, Matthew Lee and Tom Hackett. And can Tom Hackett use his race-winning experience here to find a way through as Haskell has found a way past Horvath, only temporarily, as Mark Horvath gets back through. And that's Surema and Neuendorf caught up to Joshua Dexter now. 2 seconds is the gap. Oh, and that's somebody who's gone around. It's Josh Dexter and Knickerbrooker on the final lap. And that is absolutely gutting for Joshua Dexter. But Patrick Magnussen is about to cross the line any minute now, surely. I think that was the penultimate lap, sorry. So I think Magnussen has just started the final lap. That promotes Neuendorf and Surema into the top 10. Let's look at this. It's all getting very, very hectic here. Hargitay has been able to... It's been closed in a little bit by Lee, but now Hartley has passed Tom Hackett and now wants that 5th position off of Matthew Lee. And Tom Hackett closing in. So can Hargitay hold this pack up behind him and help out his teammate Tom Hackett maybe? It seems unlikely. Look at this. Everyone really struggling in the final stages. Hackett tries to go to the outside of Louis Hartley to retake that 6th position. Louis Hartley holds his line. And now Matthew Lee fancies a run at 4th. What an impressive run once again by Matthew Lee. As here comes Hackett once again cut off by Louis Hartley. Under Birch Goldtaculars, they've had a very good meeting. Running 4th and 6th at the moment. Surema and Neuendorf, nothing to separate them. But Alexander Surema gets the Crown Dental car up into 8th position. A good move there at the exit of Cascades. Ooh. Patrick Magnussen is very close to winning this race as Surema puts his nose up the inside. Joshua Dexter still running in 11th position, by the way, on those very, very worn tyres, but he's been caught by Andy Horton as Nilsson goes off track, trying to run there on the outside of Thomas Raschke. Raschke could hold on to 15th here, but Magnussen has just got 2 corners to go. And he's going to take a very, very well-judged victory here. Managed his wet tyres perfectly. Made the right call when the heavens opened. And just across the line to come. And it's KV86 Powerhouse. They're going to win with Patrick Magnussen. And that result seals the team's championship for them. But look, Matthew Lee up the inside at Druids and passes Oliver Hargitay for 4th position. Now the Goldtacular Hunter Birch cars are side by side in the rain. Just 2 corners left to go. Who is going to take that 4th position? Hackett is going to be on the outside here, but a mistake from Matthew Lee. And here comes Oliver Hargitay. They're going to be side by... No, it's Hackett that's ahead now. Hackett is going to just snatch 4th position in the last couple of corners. Brilliant stuff from Tom Hackett. Matthew Lee finishes 5th and Hargitay 6th. And look at Hargitay drifting over the first corner there, but it's too late. 6th place is where he will finish. But yeah, Hackett past Hartley, past Lee, and past Hargitay on that final lap there. So brilliant. Brilliantly judged by our race 1 winner. I don't know if he finishes coming through now. I think Yannick Pleiss decided to pit rather than trundle around in the pouring rain on the dry tyres any further. Nilsson is going to have another go at Thomas Raschke. Raschke pulls the middle of the road to defend 15th position. Goes a little wide. Oh, and just hands it to Staffan Nilsson there. Not the best ending to the race for Thomas Raschke as he goes right onto the grass there. One mistake right at the end. And 15th place will go the way of Nilsson. There you go. So 3 different winners and 3 different teams winning. So it's our winners in the end are going to be Tom Hackett, Tim Neuendorf, and Patrick Magnussen then. replay of the start. You see Magnussen there. Did react very, very well to put on the wet tyres. Made a good getaway. Oh, bumped actually into the fin of on. That must have been Louis Hartley there. And then Magnussen gets a little bit squeezed. Somehow survives. That must be Lee that he was just side by side with. Somebody spins off at the first corner. And this is Hackett dueling it out with a fin of Vond. This is Zielski. He was the one who got it wrong at the first corner. And that was a big shame for Krzysztof. Bollard goes flying as well. Probably wasn't prepared for this so little grip. There's Horton, just hits the back and causes an absolute pinball reaction into the Knickerbrook chicane. I didn't see who it was he hit. I think it was one of the Speed Eagles cars. Oh, and there's the KV86 round. There's Horvath round and Sarema with him then. Just both lit up the rears on the exit of Knickerbrook. And there was Tuomela who went wide there, so explains why he was so far down. This is Luca Gray side by side with Magnussen. I have to say, I think Luca Gray turned unsighted there. And maybe wasn't quite enough cooperation between the two drivers here. Yeah, look, I don't know where Patrick and Magnussen could really have gone there.
Yeah, no.
I know Luca Gray.
That's in him.
A few angry messages at the end of that one. And he was very happy with his start, going up from 20th to 8th. Somebody blows the engine ahead of Josh Dexter there, interestingly. Oh, it was Homewood again for the second race in a row. And that's such a big blow because there was potentially a second place up for grabs for Nick Homewood there as well, if that hadn't happened. And there's Hayek. Oh, and just causing an absolute car park there because Rashke goes off, Morel as well. Yeah, they both just realised when they braked for Knickerbrook that there was just no traction braking that late. And there was Hargitay getting pushed out wide as well. And this is the car park, like I say, on the apex. There's Zielski. He goes straight on as well. And to extend the corner. But yes, Zielski running a damaged car at that point anyway.
Looks like we're done with the replays.
Yeah, so let's confirm the final results before we end the broadcast. So it is Patrick Magnussen that wins race 3 at Oulton Park with Tim Neuendorf second. Peter Schoenemann rounds out the podium in third. Tom Hackett is fourth ahead of Matthew Lee. And then Oliver Hargitay is sixth ahead of Louis Hartley, who closes on the championship lead, but only by a precious few points. Alexander Sarema is eighth. Peter Neuendorf ninth. Dan Hayek 10th for KV86 Bauhaus, but this result confirms them as teams champions of Season 4. Joshua Dexter is 11th ahead of Andy Horton. Mark Horvath 13th. James Haskell 14th. Stefan Nilsson 15th. Thomas Rashke losing that 15th position right at the final corner of the race. Noah Tuomela finishes 17th. Marcin Morel 18th. Yannick Pleiss a lap down, pits right at the end of the race. Tried to stick it on the dry tyres and it didn't go his way, to put it mildly. Krzysztof Zielski crashed out right at the beginning, and I think he is the final finisher. Note Matthew Williams, Nick Homewood, and Luca Gray, of course. And in the absence of any driver interviews, we are now joined by Nick Homewood, who, unfortunately, despite getting the tyre choice spot on, blew the engine at the middle of lap 2, so he will not get the benefit whatsoever there. So I imagine a lot of frustrations there, Nick. 2 races that end with the engine going kaput.
Yeah, just ironic, isn't it? Finally getting the strategy right, and the car grenades. It's my wheel. My wheel's got a problem. It keeps double down.
I didn't feel like a lot of people had much time to react as well. I apologize for that argument we had about the soft tires, because in the end, Oliver, never mind the softs or the mediums, Oliver should have just put the wets on, and he probably would have won the race. But anyway,
yeah, I just saw it was raining. I was at the back, and I was like, well, what have I got to lose? Everything, as it turned out. So, Matthew Williams.
We saw Josh Dexter. He made the same call as you, and he ended up falling down to 11th because it looked like the wets were really wearing by the end, even on Magnussen's car, because he was being caught. Although he managed it really well because he wasn't being caught anywhere near as quickly as Dexter.
The race dried quite a lot. Or the rain stopped in the middle of the race, so the track started to dry, which wore the wets down, and then it got wet again.
Yeah,
it rained.
Not dry enough for Pleiss, though, sadly.
No, I need
That
to
has
watch
get
back what
out.
happened. Thankfully, the stream survived.
Yeah, it did. So we did see all the carnage of race 3 and the car park at the chicane.
Yeah, I definitely want to watch back that. And KV86 had a bit of a mess, so the championship rumbles on, doesn't it? The
Oh
team
no, they
championship.
won. Magnussen won, and they were about 100 points ahead. Kane.
He's not the scoring car.
Oh, he isn't. Okay.
It's Tuamela and Munier, but
Hayek.
Munier's not here, so it's Hayek.
Yeah, Hayek did get P10.
Yeah,
race
so
3.
they only
I know
got 5.
because they were so far ahead. I'm not sure how many. I think you need to be within about, what was it, 80, 90 points or something max that you can get out of Brno with first and second in all 4 races.
It is for one person. You can get
66 points.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how many you get for
Oh.
3 second places though.
18, 18, 18. No, 17, 17, 17. 34, 51.
Okay, so it'd be 51 plus 66.
But
for
in the
max.
next race, there should be 2 final Vong's cars again.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And
I think it's all a matter of when for KV86 Powerhouse rather than anything else.
Yeah, I think if
that's
Lloyd was here today, it might have been a different story, but he wasn't.
Yeah. So Oulton Park certainly delivering the drive. It reminded me of the last time we raced here as well with that crazy finish that me and Josh got to commentate on.
Chris English sticking out on the dry tyres, I think.
Yeah, I think English made the right call, didn't he? In the end, or I can't remember what happened. It was so long ago, but and we haven't seen English in action very much this season, sadly. But yeah, only one more round to go, and that's Brno in the Czech Republic, 26th of June. You looking forward to that one, Nick? Or
I'm probably going to be commentating with you.
Ah, fair enough.
Well,
I say someone, but Pascal was with me the whole time. So
yeah, this is the last
it's
race.
just nice to have a stream, I guess. For
our trusty cameraman this season.
Felt a bit sorry for Tim Neuendorf because he had a great drive in race 2 and we saw barely any of it.
Yeah, well, 2 new winners today as well.
Yeah, and one of them, of course, my driver, Tom Hackett. So we did get a 1-2 for the first time, despite your attempt to confuse us by not obeying my instructions about
I made that spreadsheet in a rush on my lunch break at work, so I completely forgot.
Well, I hope we don't get penalised because if we do, it's bullshit. Right?
I'll sort it out.
Sorry about that. Figured my language. But anyway, right. I think that's all from Oulton Park then. So all that remains to be said is congratulations to Tom Hackett, Tim Neuendorf, and Patrick Magnussen for their victories. And we're not sure if KV86 Powerhouse has sealed the team's championship or not, but they're probably very likely to seal it in race 1 at Brno. And we still got that drivers' championship between Loic Mounier and Louis Hartley to go. But I think, again, Loic Mounier's got at least a 70-point lead going in. So it's going to be very, very unlikely that he will lose.
70 points before this, so it should be down.
Okay, it's probably about 50 or 40 points. Yeah.
The fight for P3 will be interesting, though. At least 3 or 4 people in it.
Yep, so Yannick Fleiss, Peter Schumann, and Oliver Hargitay, of course. So, yes, no prizes for guessing who I'm been cheering on. But anyway, tuning in for that on 26th of June. I've been Edward Hunter. I've been joined by Pascal Eggert on broadcast direction and Nick Homewood, just very, very briefly when he wasn't on track blowing up the engine. Although you did have a better race 1. You were up to 4th in race 1 before you hit.
Yeah, that didn't go well, did it?
Okay, I was trying to put a positive spin on the end things.
Hey, the pace was good.
We had a good race once. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, and we'll tune in for what's sadly the final event of Season 4 of the EERC British Touring Cars. We hope to see you there, but thank you for watching all 3 races at Oulton Park here in Cheshire, England. Goodbye.